Okay. Welcome in, everyone. Let's pretend like we're starting from scratch here. Nothing changed. So it's love the Superman weekend stream. Yeah, got to do it. Got to celebrate. Let's start with that first. Superman. Who's seen it? Can we talk about it? I don't want to do any spoilers. All right, anyone who hasn't seen it yet, doesn't want it discussed in chat. All right, create now, sleep later is buzzkill for the whole group here. Buddy Jones, Bobby Jones, and Pima, also slacker. McHaren X9, Flex. Saw it Tuesday before all you other peasants. Absolutely loved it. Sketch 22, haven't seen it, but discuss anyway. Okay, well, it's a bummer that Superman dies at the end. That's all I have to say. It was kind of like a very sad moment for the family. Ted Drews. That's a custard chain. Decalvin gives it an A minus. Just couldn't give it an A. He just had to subtract. Ding it for just a little bit. Anyway. Mr. Bushwhacker. Saw it Thursday. Congrats. Awesome. I won't go into a detail. It's first weekend. That would be very rude for me to kind of talk about it. Like next stream for sure. We can get into the details. But all I'll say is, and this is it's not a stratagem to get you to see it more times, but I've seen it 3, 4, whatever. But every time I get something new out of it, every time I've seen new details. The thing is so packed with story, but also just lore and the world of DC, right? It's not a spoiler, but at the very beginning of the movie, it establishes that superheroes, metahumans, have been on Earth for 300 years. And you see that throughout. Not constantly, but there's some cool things in there that you will definitely miss the first time when you see it, because you're trying to follow the actors, you're trying to follow the plot, so you're really focused on surface level. Later, you start seeing nuances of what's on the billboard, what's the, what's on that wall? Is that a mural? So there's a lot of really, and that's par for the course for films. I think really good films in general. I remember on the set of Batman, the Matt Reeves Batman, I was fortunate enough to go to the set. It was outside of London. Leavesden is the facility. It's right next to the Harry Potter tour. If you've ever made it to the UK, and you're a Harry Potter fan, even if you're not, like an amazing tour that they have. But it's a working studio, and they shot Batman there, and they actually created a whole city block inside a soundstage. Was it inside? Part of it was inside. I think part of it was outside. But anyway, they created a whole block within Gotham City, and it wasn't actually a whole block, meaning like one corner, was the Diamond District. Another quarter was some other area. I should draw something while let's start while I'm talking here, and. That way they could basically kind of shoot different sort of districts or areas within the city, but they're all right next to each other, right? So other parts substitute as background for the other districts. And I don't even know why I got on that digression. Talking about the level of detail. And there was one, the opening of that movie, you see Batman, he's stopping different sort of crimes in different parts of the city, and one of them takes place in the subway stop, right? With this gang that's sort of terrorizing this innocent victim. And so we got to see that, and it looked like a real subway station. But then there's like magazine racks, right? And if you actually go up to the magazine racks, they had magazines, and on the magazines there were like, photos and articles on the subway map for sure, all the detail of all the different districts. But the magazines, the newspapers, they had the correct date. They said Gotham City, like it was local, like it was all, and you would never see this on camera. Like it is so far in the background and it's blurry because the depth of field is shallow. But I just love the fact that the art directors and the props people went to such great detail to make it look as if it really existed. And look, maybe it helps the actors kind of get, the more it feels real to them, the more authentic of a performance they can pull off, which is funny because the other half of the coin of most superhero movies is that they're performing in front of green or blue screens or whatever, right? So I just thought that was super interesting, the level of detail, and you see that the same thing I think Superman. So and you're gonna see some of that hopefully at San Diego, Daily Planet, Voice of Metropolis, saw that. Jitters Coffee, not Bob's Big Boy, Big Belly Burgers, right? Yes, Mr. Terrific was terrific. Yeah, we can talk in generalities. I think for sure, David Cornsweet, what a sweet human being, and many ways I feel like the actor, the person, is Clark Kent, who is Superman, and a lot of people wouldn't necessarily embrace that. They don't want to be typecast, but you get the sense that at his core, he is a good person, a kind person, and in real life, right? And so, and then his chemistry with Rachel is amazing. The Clark and Lois scenes I thought were fantastic. Mr. Terrific, Guy Gardner. Hawkgirl does not get as much screen time as I think you actually want to see lots and lots more of this universe. The movie's only a little over 2 hours. But she's in there for, I think, very specific reason. And I'm very proud that the very first Wildstorm character to appear finally in a big motion picture is the engineer from Authority. Like, if you had that on your bingo card or your props bet, it scored big, right? That had to have been at least a 7,000 to 1, right? Of all the characters from the Wildstorm universe, which one would be in a movie first? Yes, Malatesta's dream. No spoilers. I've not spoiled anything. Everything I've discussed, I think, is pretty public knowledge and/or in trailers at this point, right? So all I'm saying is there's a lot of cool world building stuff that you see throughout. But yeah. So I'm going to start by just, I don't know, maybe drawing Superman. Let's see if I can do this. I like the return of the spit curl. Let's do that. We could even do the movie costume, right? You can see this. Let's see. It might be better if I draw like that. Jorge 4277. The answer is very evident when you see the film. I don't want to spoil anything, so but there's no question about who the baby is. But you need to see the film to understand kind of what I'm talking about. Okay. I'll tell you, this new S symbol seems simpler to draw, but it's actually kind of tricky. There's some nuances to it all. And the nuances, if you look at the very first Superman shield and the final, you'd be hard-pressed to see the differences, but there are some they kept tweaking it. throughout. So I actually have some merch. I think baseball cap of the very first S shield, which is different. What I noticed is very high-waisted trunks, in line with All-Star Superman. And yeah, All-Star Superman. You know, people talk about kind of like the baggier fit again, in line with All-Star Superman. You know, Frank Quitely really didn't like made the suit look like real clothes. It would bunch up, it would gather, it would wrinkle, that kind of thing, which is different from most approaches where it's skin tight. So I'm going to see it again with the family this afternoon in Burbank. Could not get a IMAX screening, but that would be the preferred way to see it. If you can get an IMAX, that's the way to see it. Like, just for the action shots, like, whew. Oh, you saw it in 3D? Is that a good experience? Do people still see 3D movies? Like, I don't like it because it just makes everything kind of blurry. And you just focus on, like, what it will be 3D versus all the other things you're sort of trying to... Kirihiko. Just say it's not in the Schweiz yet. I see we have our mods. We have Kirihiko from the Schweiz, Switzerland. I saw PK, the one and only Poop Kid. Is Crispy. He's living his best life. He's not here. Now, this looks very straight. Oh, can't even see what I'm drawing. Okay. And you know what? Let me see if I can move this up without destroying your world, guys. All right. Ooh, that one up high. Now we'll just, there you go. Perfect. That way I don't have to. Now, this is fine. It's just very straight on, but I want there to be a little emotion, drama. So how do we do that? All right, it's going to be in the face, and we're going to make the character look up more. I hear that's a interesting call to action. So like if we punch up the nose like this, the chin goes here. And then the forehead has to be in perspective and smaller, so let's try that. You're not going to see as much top of the head. I'm drawing with a very blunt lead pencil. For those of you who've never seen a stream before, it's just a stick of lead inside this metal holder. You can get it online or any art store. And it's pretty thick sort of tip there because I'm drawing for shapes and gestures and less about detail. I can drop in shadows like that, which is good because then it helps me sort of visualize what I'm going for. And he looks a little dark there with the shadows in his eye, like that little peeper, whatever. But these are placeholder shadows, just so I know kind of the structure. I can lighten all that up, which I will once I get there. But now he's looking up. And to seal the deal, put the shadow of the head here. When you foreshorten everything by tilting the head back, everything gets more scrunched together. So the forehead, hold on one second, I gotta change the settings on this iPad. It is dimming on me all the time here. Display brightness. Auto lock. paper. Okay. I think I got it. Let's try that. And so everything, like the distance from the brow to the hairline, everything is sort of condensed, right? The tip of the nose to the top of the brow, that's kind of like right there. So the space between the bottom of the nose and the upper lip also get shrunk down, but not too much. You don't want, now he looks like he's doing that kind of thing. Oh, this chord is lovely right there. And is it focused on me? Yeah, I guess so. Huh. Oh! That was weird. I just pulled a muscle in my back by like looking downwards. Oh man. Old age, it's the best, guys. Cannot recommend it enough. Run, do not walk. Sprint to the oldest age possible. Yes. There we go. Now, I want to drop the shoulders, right? Get a little more momentum going in the figure. All right. And the arms go in like that. I'm going to try to draw something that looks like it's a fair amount of detail, but it's actually fairly or easier to draw. I have an hour and a half. You know, if I were doing this professionally, i.e. for like a cover or, you know, a story that I was drawing, this would take all day to draw this. But because it's on stream, I have to sort of condense how I work and simplify sort of the shots. I'm not simplify. I don't know. Figure out a way to do it in a shorter period of time so that so what you're seeing is an approximation, an adaptation of how I normally work. All right, so these are the kind of lines that are important. These are about sort of cross-referencing, checks and balances for your structure. It's like, okay, if from here to here, this is the barrel of the chest, right? And then, you know, working on forms, right? So I realized the original belt line was more across, and that flattened the character out. See how this new belt line makes the barrel of the chest rounder, more three-dimensional, right? All these lines, super important. And the balls of the shoulder there, right? The shoulder joints, balls of the shoulder. What does that mean? And then I can put those arms back into perspective a little bit more. So you're going to see the underside of the fist here. All right. Like that. See, like, so this is in perspective, this arm is not. All right, so this is like flatter, but it's longer. This is stubbier because it's in perspective. So one way of doing it is you could draw the fist where you want it to be, all right, which is roughly about there. And then I did it the other way from the shoulder down the fist. And this one I'm going to do the fist back up to the forearm to the arm, right? Okay. And I don't know if one thing I noticed is that the Superman poses, he didn't put the knee forward a lot. Era 335. Why didn't you clean it off after you used the eraser? I would just blow it away or swipe my hand. It's an unnecessary. I'm looking over here at you. It's an unnecessary action that takes a microsecond. Those microseconds add up, and no, Otto, he did. He put his hands forward a lot. Whenever he would, I mean, there was like that whatever camera rig they use where he looks kind of like an action figure, where the camera he starts this way and then turns sideways and then takes off. There's some interesting things, which I will call out. They're not spoilery, but one thing I did notice is that the knee did not go forward a lot. It was either one hand forward, two hands forward, or two hands back. Okay, so let's do that. The other thing to note is oftentimes the camera in this movie, what you're seeing in the movie through is a camera, obviously, right? Although not obviously because CGI, there's no camera, virtual camera. But the camera is like you can see it in the trailer. Again, not a spoiler. He punches this raptor soldier in the midair like it's a big giant fight in the sky. And you see the teeth come out, they go flying towards us. The camera, you see them bounce off the camera screen. Other things to note is when Superman flies super fast, the camera lags behind Superman. Superman's like faster than the cameraman, and then the cameraman catches up. Like, check it out. It's interesting sort of way of showcasing his power in a very subtle way to say, hey, this is how fast it is, right? So, hey, let's stop with the stupid name calling. Rainbow people, come on. Harambe, Joestar, like, just chill, dude. All right? We're not here to discuss politics. We're not here to argue with other people in chat. There's this thing called the internet. You can go and do all that. So knock yourself out. All right. So, yeah. Anyway. Okay. Last warning. Keep persisting. You can do it. I have faith. Reasonable people do not listen to reasonable requests. Okay. So, you can kind of see, let's get the full shot in here. So it's him gonna be like kind of flying forward like this. Imagine like it's Sunday. I don't know where people are, but here it's Sunday morning. The time for relaxation, hanging out with the family, maybe doing some personal drawing, cleaning the house, whatever. And, a bunch of people have gathered virtually to kind of talk about their favorite hobbies, their passions, stories, characters, and then, it's like, I'm going to go online and just keep trolling and pushing people's buttons. Like, what? Come on. Whatever. You know what? That's the beauty of life, isn't it? There's so many different people in the world. Or is that the problem? I don't know. You tell me. Okay. So you can kind of see the basic piece of it. Okay, we get it. Point made. Good day, sir. You have done it. You have Made your point. I agree with whatever you're saying. If that'll make you happy. All right. It's all right. So here we go. But I feel like even my agreement with whatever you're saying will not appease you, sir. So, all right. Here's the. So, like I said, the lines are creating form, roundness in the chest. Now, I always want to check like sort of my middle line, which is, like tip of the forehead down to the tip of the nose to the middle of the chin, and usually drop a straight line down through. Right, but see how that's relatively straight up and down? In my head, I'm wondering, like, is it better if it goes a little more back like that, right? Okay. Yeah, here we go. I think that was the intent, like, right? When people, they feel good like they've made their statement and getting thrown out or whatever band is the ultimate sort of symbol of success for some folks. Anyway, so now I'm going to take this bottom part off and go down here. Now watch if I start moving everything over, right? See how, okay. Do you see that? And you see sort of how now there's a little bit more zoom. PM. Ciao Jim, saluti da Siena. It says hello Jim, salutations, greetings from Siena, the city in Tuscany. Ciao. Ho abitato a Siena 26 anni fa? Da is from, yes, da. Preposition. Preposition? Or is it prop? Yes, preposition. I'm forgetting all my grammar. Okay. So start moving. Why do you start moving back at the thighs instead of the hips? Well, I could. I mean, like if I take this line and go like that, like now I gotta foreshorten it even more, right? So the more this center line goes back, the more we're foreshortening it, right? To the point where if it goes like that, like you're just seeing the chest pretty much, right? So, so now we're gonna move this curved line a little bit more, like that. See that? Okay, now let's try that. Let's see what happens. Now, if you do that, the cape was drawn symmetrically around that center line, but see if the center line moves this way, now the cape is also going to have to move and adjust so that okay, now let's try this. Let's see what happens. That might be too much. Okay. Now if I'm gonna, you're gonna see more of the side. The straight on was more symmetrical, so now that this line is here, everything's gonna start shifting that way a little bit, right? So let's go like this. So it's more, the S shield would be more off center here. All right, so we're seeing more of this side of lats than this side, right? So look, we're drawing Superman. We're celebrating the release of the film, but I'm trying to teach you some artistic, I don't know if they're tricks, but at least the way I sort of break down sort of figures and construct stuff. So then belly buttons here. You're going to see more of the side of this hip here than over here. And let's put the thighs into perspective. Kneecaps, kneecap, calf, calf. And it's probably going to be all like blur lines down here anyway, so I'm not really too worried about it. Okay, and now you see how the arms look. Move it over here. The arms were symmetrical to that center line when it came down this way. Now that we've moved that center line and put the figure a little more in perspective, you can see how they're no longer at the same angle. Like before, they were like this, right? Before they were like that, but we've now changed the figure so they should be more like that, right? So that means this shoulder should be higher than that one, just subtly, right? And then that one, this one will be more in perspective going into the paper. And so the fist should be a little higher. I'm working it through, right? I'm guessing, right? I think. So that arm looks well. This one looks like it's crunching into the side of the ribs there. So I need to pop that shoulder back out a little bit. And that arm needs to go out. I think it should insert more to that, where the true insertion point, which is up here, not down here. And see how this line is more like this curve. This one probably, it's either like that or like this. I don't know. Okay. All right, let's see how that looks from a silhouette point of view. Looks good. All right, so the way I work, which I've touched on before, is that I'm always balancing sort of the power of a silhouette versus the power of proper construction, right, three-dimensional form. Meaning you can draw a figure by taking the shoulder, the bicep, the triceps, the forearm, insert them into the right insertion points in the joints, into the rib cage, to the chest, and construct a drawing that way. And so while that might look anatomically correct and well constructed, the figure might not be as graphically or aesthetically as striking or pleasing. And that's where the silhouette comes in, right? It's the outer line, these angular lines. So do people's shoulders come to a point like that? No, but you can fake it in a way so it looks realistic, but you still have that angularity, that graphical element. And so when I think of like these shapes, see how they're very simple, and that V shape is very powerful. So that's focusing on silhouette. If I'm focused on form and anatomy, I was like, oh, that's softer, and maybe there's like a little, maybe the flesh comes back out in the hips in a very subtle way like that, right? So you can see the difference. This is more abstract. This might be more realistic, right? Same thing up here. There might be, it'd be rounder, and right, and that muscle group would be like this, right? So you can do that throughout the figure, and you'll get something that's probably more realistic looking, but softer in shape. Or you can do something that's more angular and more striking, but it looks more like a drawing versus like an approximation or illustration of real life. So I've always tried to kind of blend the two approaches and have a mix of both. So I have my realism, but I don't sacrifice power or graphic design, right? So it's always a mix of the two. Oh, here, Hiko, I don't know what happened to that person before that we kicked out, but it's not a permanent ban. Like, just, I don't even know how those things work, but, it's like a timeout. But if you keep coming back and stirring up trouble, I just keep getting kicked out, whatever. But at the end of the day, I rarely block people online. I don't believe in, permanent bans or any of that stuff. People just get caught up in stuff they don't even know they've necessarily been sort of caught up in, and get worked up about stuff that years later or even months later the points of view have changed. All right, so getting back to the drawing. All right, let's just keep tweaking these shapes here till we get something. Kind of wanted to make this arm a little bit longer so it didn't look so. Okay, so let's see how that looks here. Okay. All right, let's go like that. All right, same thing with this belt. And he has a nice, probably the widest belt I've seen in a Superman costume in quite some time. There's a belt goal here, and it comes in at a slight angle like that. And then I think these holders, the belt holders, also come in at an angle, if I'm doing this from memory. But and then the trunks are very wide across. They're very, Silver Age looking, I think. All right. Okay, now this cape was drawn flat. See how like it curves like this? Right? Let's see if this looks any better. I needed to... So I was drawing the cape like this. It should be more like this now, right? Because we put that cord line. Who wrote a paragraph? What am I missing? I have to... Oh, Lomed Cafe. Well, thank you for all the notes. I'm just working it out for you guys. I'm not looking for. We're not. There are times where we'll crowdsource it, but whatever. I mean, you can say whatever you want. It's your guys' chat, I guess. Ultimately, I'm just trying to make it better. So when I draw, I'm constantly sort of doing sort of this mental math, right? Okay, if I change this, then this has to change. If I do this, blah, blah, blah. And so I'm opening up my thought process to you guys by sharing it. It's less about trying to figure out the solution, because I know I'll get to the solution, but I'm walking you through kind of how I think about it, so that if you guys are aspiring artists, maybe it's an approach that you can take. Okay, so I'm thinking that okay, let's try that. All right, you want to convey speed, kind of like that. Now, is the cape straight across, or is it kind of diamond shaped like that? In the Fortnite skin, James Gunn and I designed a comic book version of Superman. We did something like that. All right, so it's longer in the back like that. Okay. So this point has to come here. Let's do that. Capes are like hanging curtains. If that point rounds the shoulder at the top, the line has to kind of go behind the back like this. Same thing here. Right? I know. So what I like about that, okay, the chest muscle goes there. All right, so the bicep, the shoulder muscle pops out like that. If I had more room, like this is the stuff I do. I contemplate putting that arm up, you know, like this, right? But there's no room, right? Well, that does make for an interesting crop, though. Hold on, I'm just playing this out and see what happens. It's hard to see with the white paper behind it, so I move it like that. You like that better? You guys like that better? Yeah, I don't know. Let me go back. Let's go back. Let's go back. This is normal, by the way. Let me see if I can show you some stuff. Whoa. Like, yeah, so this is something I'm working on for real. So it's just a shot, 2 characters, I don't know who they are. Let me move it down a little bit, right? Okay, so that's on 11 by 17 paper. Okay. But I didn't like the angle, so then I transferred it to get more like that. No, I transferred and got something like that, which is more straight up and down. Or less. It was very straight up and down here at the angle. You know, take my word for it. Then I traced it to another board, thinking I get like a different angle on it. You can't really tell from this. And then this final one, it's more leaned over at the end, right? I light boxed it, which I don't like, because like you think like tracing it's easy, but the line quality changes to me. So then I did all that work and then realized, you know what, I like this one best. So I went back to the beginning, which is generally what happens. Like a lot of covers where I'm redrawing it, I'll do like 3 or 4 different versions and then ultimately kind of end up back to square one, right? So, all right, let's go ahead and figure this out here. All right, boom, boom. How many of y'all are going to Comic-Con? The Lizard One. Greetings from Colombia. Nice to see you, sir. Or, I don't know. I'm presuming. Sir, but can I tell? Fair number. Clench Fists. I've covered it before. It's got to be in some, YouTube somewhere. Drawing Fists. I've done it several times. Which is not to say that you can't ask, but I'm just gonna try to figure it. Let's focus on this for now, right? And so, see how that arm, like so. This is what I do when I do a pro piece. I cover. I just keep noodling, moving things just a little bit, seeing what happens when I move stuff around. It's deceptive when I do it in a stream because of time constraints. I'll settle on a earlier version that I wouldn't necessarily go forward with on a published piece, right? So. Now I'm gonna pop this chest out a little bit more and then go back into space. Does that make sense? Again, see more of the side. So this line is like that. All right. Now drawing with like a blunt tip pencil can be a little deceptive. You feel like, oh, I've got to figure it out. But you're also missing a lot of details, which you have to figure out when you kind of move to inks or a cleaner version of the pencils. But it allows you to do a lot of kind of basic construction, which is what I'm doing now, right? Looks like he's wearing one of those chef aprons, right? The Superman chef aprons, right? Okay. Getting closer, I think. I hope to. There are days where you're drawing, you spend all this time trying to work something out, and then you realize, again, oh, I had it right, more right, the best version of right at the beginning. You kind of backtrack and just start over again. So it can be challenging, but hey, this is what, it's art. If everyone could do it, it'd be less special, I guess, right? I'm going to try to move this and move that arm more into perspective. Let's see what happens if I really shorten it up like that. It's crazy, right? So this is where right, so one is more in perspective, one's straight on. And so I usually look backwards through the, but man, if I foreshorten this, then this should all be kind of more foreshortened. So many choices, right? Let's do that. I'm just checking my angles and shapes. And the more you foreshorten, like it'd be wide here, and then it's going to narrow as it goes back into space like that. So now I'm in the process of foreshortening everything to make this arm look correct. So this is and look, this is the kind of stuff that usually when you start drawing and you haven't drawn for a while, this is the kind of stuff I struggle or have to work out. And then when you're in the groove, when you're really warmed up visually, mentally, like, things go a lot faster. So pages at the beginning of a deadline are like this, working things back out again by the end. Whatever muscles, sort of cells or neurons in the brain need to be activated to create structurally good drawings that are in perspective with action and drama, yeah, they get fired up. Okay, I think this one is too deep, this one's not deep enough, so I'm going to try to come up with a sort of a interim solution right there. And I'll tell you, I think drawing Superman is harder than drawing Batman for these reasons, right? There's not a lot of parts of his costume that allow you to hide and sort of take a shortcut when you don't. I don't know what I'm trying to say. Like, shadows hide a lot of flaws, I guess. It makes drawing more forgiving. For sure. All right, so on this version, the shoulders are pulled back. Okay? And that adds, again, more power into the chest here. All right, but now everything kind of has to... And when I do stuff like that, that's a critical sort of note, like that the rib cage angle's there, there's a shadow there, so that's why I kind of block that in. That really helps me kind of show three-dimensionally kind of the changes I'm making in the form. All right, same here. All right, it's like I assume what sculptors do when they're working in like marble, right? They just chunk away at it to get the basic shapes, and then they refine it. So these chunks there help establish shadow, form, right? And I start blocking those out as I get closer to sort of realizing what the final structure is going to be. So if you're watching this video, someone said, why don't you swipe away the erase? Like, see, I did it just for you. I don't normally do it. I don't even do it because I don't notice it, and also I don't think it really saves any. Well, it saves time not swiping it, right? So someone say like spread the arms like they're wings. Well, that's not the pose I'm going for, right? So if you're drawing at home, knock yourself out. So the arms are going back into perspective. The cape is relatively flat, so I'm going to take the cape and sort of move it. Like, So I'm always talking about these things as if they're three-dimensional shapes or forms. Obviously, it's a 2D drawing, but in my head, I have to think about it three-dimensionally. And just walking you through the process here. So a lot of erasing. Boom. And so it's a shorter cape now because it's going back in perspective. And the action lines were more symmetrical to that core, but now because of this line, it goes like this, they're going to flare out as well, like this. All right. Gulf War Sunday, those microseconds add up. Now you're looking at go like, now the cape looks very short, right? Which means to me, like, yes, now I got to foreshorten the legs a little bit even more. So I would hope, if you're an aspiring artist, you would start watching this video at the beginning. You would compare the very first version of this drawing with where we're at now, and you can see how all the small changes start impacting each other, and then all the sum of all those small changes creates a very different final form, impression, vibe, feeling, whatever. And I think this is more dynamic than what we started with, right? So then try to go lighter or use a different pencil. It should do the job. What? What are you talking about? You don't want to smear the pencils either. What are those eraser things called? Eraser pens, I think. I'm trying to. Do you use a heavy hand while drawing? I don't know what that means. Sorry. Heavy hand. I feel like I burned through erasers. Is that normal for everyday drawing? Yeah. Yeah, that's what they're for. I was burning through erasers and what I could do to change through that. I don't know. It sounds like you're defining good drawing by economizing your eraser resources. Is that a real sentence? I put words together. This is where, like, this is the real eraser, the MVP right here. You can't see this, it's blown out. Let me see if here it's all dark. You can see it. It might be better here. Usually by the time I finish a page, like, this is all black. All right. Let's move it back down a little bit. Okay, now I think his boots go like this or something like that. I always thought Superman's boots were some of the hardest to draw. Like, it's one thing, okay, so like Batman's boots, they go like this, right? I can do that in perspective pretty well. This gets a little trickier, right? Because does it curve like this? I mean, it's a mess. So I usually just draw as if they're flat boots first, like this. I'm trying to show you how. Like, I'm pointing out a problem and I'm talking it through, not because I can't solve it, but I want to work it through with you. Does that make sense? Okay. So, go like that. So this is the solution if you can't figure out 3D. Like, just go ahead and just always start from the basics. And then you draw the center line of each thigh. Okay, that's where the divots come. And then if it's raised, it comes like this, right? So that's kind of what I'm trying to help you sort of create. But on this one, we're not going to worry too much about that, because by the time we get down there, it's going to be kind of all in motion, I guess, right? So sometimes arms can get a little stubby, so I'm going to just add a little bit. I'm just going to push it out 1/8 of an inch. I'll still feel foreshortened, but it'll give me a little room to make the arms look a little less stubby. So move that fist down here just a little bit. And all right. Now even this S shield, I don't like it coming down so low on the chest, so I'm gonna. It's like his back is bent in the middle, so we're looking up at the top, looking down at the bottom. Does that make sense? So if we're looking up at the top, we're looking from this point up at his chin and at the upper torso. The Superman, the S shield will be in perspective going up. All right, so these lines are going to be shorter. And maybe they'll even curve down towards the center. Some people do the Superman shield as a flat kind of graphical image. Other people, and you'll notice in the film, the Superman shield does not sit on top of his chest as like a flat symbol. It actually undulates with the form, right? The curvatures of the pecs. You'll see that. So I thought that was an interesting choice. Okay. So with the Superman shield, to create that S, the bottom of the S, this piece is thicker than this piece, right? That is the subtle distinction. And then that's double thick for the top part of the S, single thick, double thick. Back to single thick there. 2 parallel lines that slash there kind of at the center, or at the end. All right, that's what we got. And let's go ahead and do that center line in here. Let's make the pecs look a little less like big chiclets. And like that, like that. That and endure and survive. Is anyone loving the new Silver Surfer? It doesn't. I'm not mad at it. I don't know what that means. Yeah. I'm open to it. Shalaba, Norn Red. I don't know. A lot of cool movies. I'm telling you, I used to go see movies in theaters all the time. It's rare now. But this month, we went to see Jurassic World. We saw F1, the movie. Obviously, Superman. See you again later today. And then FF in 2 or 3 weeks. Right? So, F1 was great. F1 was great. Very visceral. I saw that in IMAX. Like the driving scenes are pretty amazing. All right. And let's have him fly through some sort of ice structure like this. And like that. Like this. Draw Krypto. Oh, you guys are killing me. Okay. There you go. There, you can see it in perspective. Yeah, I have to make the sound. Oh no, he's not dead. Oh, it looks like he went splat on the ground. Here, let's see if we can put him here. Extra credit. I'm running out of time. All right. Now, unbeknownst to you, because I've drawn Krypto a couple times now, or several times in different media, I've actually feel pretty comfortable drawing a fake dog. And I have a bunch of dogs personally, right? So I keep looking at them going like, I should be able to draw you somehow. I should be able to crack the code. So I do feel more comfortable and understanding kind of dog anatomy. And there's some like little, not tricks, but shorthand, right? Shorthand so that you can figure out what, because the front legs and the back legs don't do the same thing. And I'll tell you, even just thinking about a creature with 4 legs kind of freaks me out. And this is where I'm going to start sounding crazy to you, but I just, like, creatures in general, including humans, like, it's all, like, it's weird to me. It's weird. Look, and I know this is a symptom of working in comics a lot, and you guys are comics fans, so you might identify with this a little bit. Is you start, like, a lot of great stories come out of conspiracy theories, right? Like, what if, or wouldn't it be cool if this was all like a random event was more calculated? And I think about superhumans and metahumans. Cut me off, mods, if I start sounding crazy. Just say, yeah, Jim, Earth is not flat. Okay, yeah. So I was thinking the other day, like last night. I'm like thinking, what if there are metahumans on Earth? Metahumans, I'm defining as someone that is high Vicky seance. Grandpa Jim. What if there were people with powers? And what is powers? And I used to think like powers, like, come on, let's be real. There's no such thing as powers. But we can all agree that creatures, animals, mammals, sea life, they all have different abilities, right? In terms of, there are creatures that can run faster than us by a lot, right? Like a cheetah is like almost 50 miles per hour at full sprint, 60. So it's possible that an organic being on our Earth can run that fast. There are creatures that can see much further, hear much better certainly smell much better than all of us. So imagine if any of those powers or abilities that were amped up from most of our abilities, that someone had that, would they not be considered a metahuman, right? Someone that had like super taste buds, right? That's a thing, right? But there might be those among us that or if you're autistic, I just watched a reel of someone playing. I don't know if they were autistic, but they were playing chess, but they were playing blindfolded. They knew where every piece was, and they were basically the person was calling out the movements, like pawn to g4, and this person had a response right away. They were mentally tracking every piece on there, and to me, that's a superpower. That's pretty, yeah. So, but I would think if you were different and had some sort of amazing ability, you'd probably want to keep it under wraps, right? For fear that you would, be taken to, dissected, whatever. I don't know. Now I'm sounding crazy. But the idea that there might be a group of folks with enhanced abilities, but that they're a minority, and I think to some degree, the super smart people are like this. They're able to make their fortunes using their abilities, and yeah, so it's a little bit of the Illuminati sort of. Okay, I shouldn't have shared those thoughts. Anyway, correct. So let's just delete all that out. But this is the kind of stuff I think about because I think that's what you do if you're in this business, right? You're thinking of how can I shed light on the world in ways that are like, wow, like insightful and creatively interesting, blah, 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 blah. All right. I can't have them run into. All right, let's just do the limbs later. I'm also running out of real estate here at the bottom, so I have to foreshorten him anyway. Here's his chest, his waist, his hips. Right? What's that? Here's his hand coming at you. And then the other hand would be here. His shoulder would pop out. And that's... I think the legs are good. This arm, look, it's a little freaky. But let's put this arm here. His head might be too big. And then let's move this arm further down. And let's put his neck over here. This is the way you're supposed to do it. Like, I think it's like a circle and then 2 rocks or something like that. I've run out of real estate down there, so let's take the whole idea and move it up here. Okay, so here's kind of the size, so I have to shrink him down. That's his chest, kind of like mirror version of that. There's his hips. There's his thighs. Shoulder, bicep. Wait, they're legs. Sorry. Femur. That's all I know. all that, what I was saying before, when I was younger, I was very kind of literal. I was like, nah, there's no such thing as these crazy powers. And as I've gotten older, I'm like, I don't know what I was talking about. I'm more of like, I don't think aliens are among us, but maybe. That's crazy, huh? So this part is called the gestural drawing. I don't know what it's called actually, but the idea is not to invest too much time into any piece of it. You're just working out shapes and composition. So that's why it's a blunt tip on purpose, so that you're not hopefully drawing lots of little details that are unnecessary at this point. All right, and you know, I'm gonna have him here. Here's Krypto, and he's holding a beach ball. There we go. No, look. Oh, it's a T-sphere. There you go. Dog's legs are not that close together, so I gotta pop that out. They got very long. I don't know what these are back here, but why does he have why does he have a ball like this? So, yeah, okay, let's figure this out. What is he doing? I think the solution is boom, 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 boom. But the last boom has to go this way. So down and then up, right? What dogs do? It's freaky. It's like, it's straight and then something like that. And then, oh, they have this thing that comes out, right? I don't know what that is, but now that I'm drawing it, it's like, okay. If you've been following this long enough, you know, I don't really, I'm not a big anatomy person. There was a time when I thought, like, if I just memorize all the muscles and the shapes, I can draw, but it's really, that's not it. Maybe it is for someone. But it's more the forms, like these, the giant shapes that are made up of multiple muscles, that is the critical piece of it. Let's go this way. So the same way we're seeing the underside of his face, we'll see a little bit of the underside of the dog. And as such, then we're looking past the nose at this flat area where the eye would be. See that part of the eye, the brow, and then the other. Oh no, this ear goes back. The other one folds in. All right, so you can do that. Put a bush in front of him. Yeah, I could. I probably foreshorten it a little too much, or not foreshorten it, turn it to the side a little too much. So let's. Then if I go too underneath it, like that, you're not going to see any of the face. So let me just try something. I want to capture the joy in the dog's face. Anyway, what I was saying before, I used to hate drawing dogs, but because of Krypto, and having drawn him more than any other dog at this point, Hush One, couples, I think Final Crisis, was it Final Crisis? No, Crisis covers, I think I drew Krypto and Superboy. I've gotten more comfortable with it. It's still like a struggle, but less of a struggle. How's that? No. Close. Too big, I think. It was either erase the body or erase the head. I kind of like the body, although I think at the end of the day, it needs a little more fur, but that I can do at the end. That's no problem. So let's try a shorter neck. And yeah, it's a little Snoopy-like, yeah. You know, there was a day when Snoopy was the premier dog sort of character. Is Krypto? Give me another dog. What eraser? This is a Pentel click eraser. All right. Scooby-Doo? Oh yeah, Scooby-Doo. All right, but I don't know, Krypto. Because he's a star of big motion picture. Gut genug. Beethoven. Okay. Now, he is scratchy, so let me see if that helps. Like, just yeah, okay. He feels more dog-like. Before I was like, he looks like some. He looks like I don't know what to say. Now it looks like he's got static cling. Cladic? I don't know what the heck is that. Dogs have pretty big sort of hooves. And then just give him that sort of like the scratchy fur. Yeah, something like that. Is it not hooves? What are their paws? Paws, that's what it is. Hey, Russell. I'm still trying to understand animal life in general. Like it's a challenge. Okay, now he looks so serious. And I also wanted to fix the eyes so that he wasn't so. There we go. Hooves are for the unglinates? What is ungl? The dog tongue hanging out. That's a good call out. Here we go. Oh wait, no, that's the wrong franchise. Uh, let me see if I can do this here. Give him a little bit more forehead, eyebrows. I should give him sunglasses. That would be adorable. So it would be like this. Lots of speed lines like that. And it's interesting. I'm talking about this in the hypothetical case. It would be, not it is, like giving you a glimpse into the future. Giraffe. Oh, we're still on the unglinates. I didn't realize there were some giraffologists in the chat. You know. Try the tongue flying back on the side of his face. You're not going to let it go. Oh, it looks like he's pulling Superman's cape right there. That's too much, too much. This is HB, I think, lead or something like that. HB lead. I used to use F. It was a nice cross between being soft and kind of giving you a hard edge, but it's a little trickier to source. HB is more. And it's just easier. Okay, 12 to 15. I'm going to have to finish this next stream, you know. Kind of want to hold on. Let me try something else here. So let's thank our mods, Kirihiko and PK. We are going to raid someone else's stream, and we'll finish this up. We'll do this as a giveaway. Next weekend? Let me think. Yeah, let's do it next weekend, right? The weekend before Comic-Con, right? This will be a nice kicker. All right, so thank you guys for following this journey of this Superman piece. It's in theaters now, of course. You guys all know that already. This is the core group. Like, if you guys don't see it, who is, right? So do your take your nerd responsibilities. And I will see you guys next weekend, okay? And we're going to go raid someone. So please. And for those of you who don't know what that is, we're going to a big virtual pirate ship, find another creative out there. We will then drop en masse, like SEAL Team, whatever, 616, wait, wrong universe, SEAL Team 52, and drop in and just, mix things up and surprise and delight and all that good stuff. So have a good rest of the day, and I'll see you guys in this next chat.